of the Savannah region, the economy of the Savannah region, tourism, agriculture, and basically minerals and hydrocarbon exploration. Then also we'll look at the industry, road infrastructure, health service, real estate, security, and the way forward. So the overview of Savannah region is basically one of the 16 regions in Ghana and one of the newly created regions. You know, Ghana administratively was having 10 regions until the creation of 6 additional regions. And Savannah region was created out of the legislative instrument or the constitutional instrument 115 in 2019, with Damango as what? The regional capital of the Savannah region. The creation therefore is expected to accelerate development by focusing on social, economic, and infrastructure needs of the people. It will also facilitate access to services. So let's look at the population of the Savannah region. The Savannah region has a total population of 653,266 people. That is the recent population census Ghana held, with an annual growth rate of about 2.8. So you can see how fast the region will be growing annually. And so we have at least so many, one of the regions where the ethnic groups are so many. In Savannah region alone, we have up to 19 ethnic groups, of which the majority ethnic group is the Gonja, or the Gonjas. And that is why we have one of the most prominent chiefs to have led this delegation, supported by one of our paramount chiefs in another traditional area. So we have Buipewura Jinapor, the second, who is the vice president of the Savannah Regional House of Chiefs. The live president is always the Yagonga, who is the overlord of the Gonja kingdom. And so he's accompanied by the Komura, who is also a traditional chief from one of the traditional areas in the Savannah region. The Savannah region has a landmass of 46,922 square kilometers. That tells you that this region is huge in terms of land mass. It occupies about one-fifth of the total land mass of Ghana. And so it is the largest region in terms of land in Ghana. So it will not surprise you why today we are selling the Savannah region to the world, and for that matter, the North America. The region is bordered on the north by the Upper West region. That is one of the oldest regions in the country. 2, on the west by Côte d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso. So it means we are sharing, the Savannah region is sharing boundaries even with neighboring West African countries. And in the south by the Bono East, one of the newly created regions, created from the Bono and Ahafo region, now is known as Bono. Then Bono and the Oti regions in the south. It means that towards the south, Savannah region is bordered by 3 regions: the Bono East, the Bono region, and the Oti region. Except Bono, the Bono East and Oti regions are some of the newly created regions that were carved out of the 10 existing regions in 2019. Savannah region has two main administrative districts and municipalities: West Gonja Municipal Assembly and the East Gonja Municipal Assembly. The capital of the East Gonja Municipal Assembly is Salaga, and that of the West Gonja Municipal Assembly is Damango, and we have 5 additional districts. We are able to differentiate between municipalities and districts based on population and infrastructure. If a particular district population is more than 95,000 in Ghana, the president will have to declare that particular district to become a municipality. So that is why we have 2 municipal assemblies and 5 districts. The 5 other districts are the Sola Tona Kalba district, where the district capital is at Sola. We have the Bole district to the west, that is, the capital is Bole. Then we have Central Gonja, where the capital is Buipewura, where we have our guest speaker to be the traditional overlord in that particular traditional area. Then you go to the North Gonja, which is where the capital is Daboya, where Mr. Saeed is coming from. That is where the North Gonja is. Then we go to the last district, which is the Northeast district, one of the newly created districts. And the district capital is Palvi. So these other 5 districts, together with the 2 municipal assemblies, make up the Savannah region. That means that we have a total administrative areas to be what? 7, which is headed by the Regional Coordinating Council. That is, the main purpose of the Regional Coordinating Council is to monitor, evaluate, and supervise the activities of these districts. And each of the districts are headed by what we call government appointees, called the district chief executives. At the municipal level, they are headed by the municipal chief executives. And at the metro level, they are headed by what we call the mayors, metropolitan assemblies. And they are areas where we have basically trade in Ghana: Accra, Takrady, and Takrady, Kumasi, and Tamale. These are metropolitan assemblies because of the population. So this is how, so none of our districts or municipals can be termed metropolitan assemblies because of the number of residents in those particular districts. So let's go to the economy, and that's why we are here. Very, very important. The Savannah region, as I said earlier, is the largest, and so it is coming with a lot of important comparative and competitive advantages, some of which includes tourism, 1, agriculture, mining, hydrocarbons, industries, services, education, and health. For all you know, when Madam was playing with her computer, we could clearly see one of the landmarks of the entire West Africa. For that matter, Africa is the Moli National Park. The Moli National Park is one of the most significant landmarks that we have in the entire Africa and then West Africa. And it's right in the middle of the Savannah region. And so the park, let me just give you an overview of this park. It is one of the most important parks because it covers 4,912 square kilometers. 4,000, almost 5,000 square kilometers, with a home of 93 mammals or mammalian species. 93. With 33 reptiles, 9 amphibians, and an estimated 300 bird species in that particular park. The mammals include, let me just give you the numbers. We have in the park over 600 elephants who are just free range. We haven't caged them. They are just in their natural habitat. And then Madam played them here before we started. Then we have about 2,000 roaming antelopes. We have numerous lions, leopards, hyenas, and primates that can also be seen in Moli. So we need to protect this. And out of this, only 600 kilometers within the park that is protected. So the others, over 1,000 kilometers to 2,000 kilometers, is unprotected. So you find poachers going into the park to kill the animals. And the recent one is the level of deforestation in this particular area, which we think that when we sell this to the international community to come and invest, all these things can be stopped. We also have a very monumental places where you can see the historic Paga Mosque, which is just 5 kilometers away from the Moli National Park. And I think it is one of our good. This is the mosque, which is dating more than 500 years old. It is more than 500 years old. It's a site that I will advise everybody who visits Ghana in particular to go to the Savannah region and have a look at it. In the same community, we have what is known as the Mystic Stone. The Mystic Stone that has a history behind it. You know, during the construction of roads, they were supposed to move some stones to make sure that this the road is well constructed right from Wa to the Fufuso Junction. But this, when you visit there, there will be stories to be told about this Mystic Stone. Then we have the slave markets, we have the slave wells, we have places in North Gonja where these beautiful cloths, the Gonja cloths that our chiefs are wearing, that's some that chief is wearing. We have the market where these cloths are woven, and they have different types. It's a site for us to go there and see how this is done and sell it out to the world. Then also for agriculture, Savannah region is one of the regions where cereal, legumes in particular, tuber is produced across the country. Yam, cassava. This is where the land is in abundance, like you heard in my introduction, where agriculture, except cocoa and many other crops that cannot be grown in the north. Any crop that can be grown in the northern part of the country does very, very well in the Savannah region. So I would advise that investors should look at how we go into agriculture and processing of these agricultural products. And the region has an estimated arable land, which is over 100,000 hectares of land, arable, where we can do commercial production in agriculture. Tree or cash crops, mangoes, cashew, they do very, very well. And one of our commercial cash crop is the shea nuts. And so the whole of the Savannah region, there's so much shea nuts that we produce 90% of the shea nuts in the country, of which the butter is exported to Europe and in America for all these our cosmetic products. So we have to look at that area. Apart from the cash crops and plants, we have to also look at aquaculture. We have a lot of ponds, rivers. You know, almost all the 2 major rivers in Ghana are found in the Savannah region. The black and white voltas. They are all within the Savannah region. So the Savannah region is a place where everything you are looking for in Ghana is found there. You can do water transport. It links you right from the north straight to the south, Akosombo. And quite recently, we've had an investor who has come to construct an inland port, the Diaspora Inland Port. It's an investment of over $45 million, and he has started the construction to cut goods from the south, right from Tema, from Ampakadan, down to the Savannah region, Diaspora, where these goods will be cut to Burkina Faso, Mali, and part of the northern region. So it is an area that we have to look at. There are so many areas where these inland ports can be created across the Savannah region. So when you come to invest in Savannah region, it's something that you will not regret. Then also, very importantly, mineral exploration. The western part of the Savannah region is a hub of gold mining. And as we speak, as a regional minister, I know that we have not had any serious investors who have come to the Savannah region to mine the gold. The gold deposit is in the western side, particularly the Bole district, where you have only 2 investors as per the law that I know of in my office who are investing and currently at exploration level of gold in the Savannah region. The rest are community miners. These are just small scale miners, and the illegal miners termed at Galamsey, of which we are clamping on them seriously because of the destruction to their environment. So it is an area where we want more investors to come and look at how to get these mining licenses. And I have to tell you that our son, the son of the Buipewura Jinapor, is leading the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources as a minister there. And he's told me that if there's an opportunity of anyone coming to the Savannah region to invest in mining, the licenses and everything is going to go smoothly. There's a regime that we have kept in place that investors will be given the free way, less legal hassles to go through to get your documents to be done properly for you to start. And so I'm assuring every investor who is coming into the Savannah region that as long as we remain as leaders and chiefs of the Savannah region, investment is going to be a hassle-free for us. The latest discovery that we have in the Savannah region is the deposit of hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons. It is one of the latest discoveries that we have made in collaboration with the Ghana National Procurement Company, GMPC. Currently, all the hydrocarbon deposits that have been discovered in the northern region or the northern part of the country, 70% of the deposits are right in the Savannah region. And so what GMPC did was that they have to move from the other regions into the Savannah region and began the exploration from the eastern side, that is Salga and Palby side. And then when they do the exploration, and we know that ABC did them, from there we'll take it up. So this is an area, the latest discovery that we have about 2 years ago. So you see that the Savannah region is a place where we can do a lot of business. And I have to again go back to Chief's place. A lot of clinker, limestone is just in its traditional area. And so the only cement factory, if you are counting cement factories in Ghana, they are not up to 5. One of them is currently sited in the Buipewura's traditional area, producing cement for the entire northern region, or the 5 northern regions. That is, the company is called Savannah, and it is an Indian-owned company. And so, if you are coming to invest in the cement industry, you don't have to go anywhere for clinker. Clinker is right in the Savannah region. I will give you it's just a matter of going with the Minerals Commission. You are giving the license to at least exploit this clinker, and production of cement becomes easier for you. And so we are looking at this one. Investors have to take this one seriously, so that at least the only ones cement factory we have feeding the entire Savannah region, where you have a long queue of vehicles standing there for some time before they will get cement. I mean, when we have 1 or 2 in addition, it will reduce the burden on the commercial drivers and also the people in the 5 northern regions. So, in short, what I'll say is that the region is ready and Ghana is ready. Ghana is a friendly nation that we welcome investors without any fear or any problems that you encounter. Then, lastly, on industry, what we produce most in the Savannah region is cassava. And almost every farmer in Savannah region produces cassava. And as I speak, the government has introduced what we call 1 district, 1 factory. And we have happened to have one, but it's not equipped with machinery to at least process this cassava products. And so when it is the bumper harvest for cassava, farmers tend to lose. Particularly is the women who are into this cassava production in the Savannah region. And so if we want to enhance the economic well-being of our women, it means that investors have to come and look at how we can get the cassava industry at least revamped in the Savannah region. So, on that note, let me say that the security in Savannah, every investor is worried about his security. Investors will not come into any country when there's no security. As the regional minister, and collaborating with my chiefs all the time when it comes to security issues in the Savannah region, I can bet you and assure you that any investor who brings into the Savannah region an investment will be protected per the laws of what? The region and also of the country. And let me assure you that there's no going to be any risk involved in investing in the Savannah region. On that note, I want to say thank you so much for your attention. And may God bless Ghana and bless America. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But before we move on to our next speaker, I'd like to give at least 5 minutes if anyone has a question for Minister.
If I may ask, Savannah, what part of the region was it broken out? Was it part of the northern region that was
Yeah, it was part of the northern region. The northern region gave birth to these 2 regions, Savannah region and the northeast region. It was so large administratively, the regional minister couldn't even cover the place within even 4 years. So the government saw the need to break it into 2. And so in that line, 2 regions were birthed out of the northern region. That is Savannah region and the northeast region. Yes. So now there are 3 now. So Northern Region is now 3.
Okay.
So the old Northern Region is there. The new ones are Northeast Region, that is the Mampugu land,
Okay.
and the Savannah Region, predominantly Gunjama.
Thanks. So the 600 and something population is just the Savannah alone.
It's just the Savannah alone. It's just the Savannah. But the Northern Region has more population than any of the 2. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
With Africa, in particular, having a history of outsiders coming in the name of development or investing, exploiting minerals, people, undermining cultural traditions, even in some cases creating pollution that
Sure.
can unfortunately create problems in water systems, etc. Just toxins. You hear about that a lot in terms of outsiders coming in doing work in Africa and or investing and developing in Africa, especially in traditional settings. I'm just wondering, as government representatives, what are you all doing to secure that kind of thing?
Yes, thank you very much. You know, initially, the particularly exploitation of minerals, gold, most of our rivers were polluted. You are well aware that this is not news. Even as we speak, there is a Chinese kingpin who is under arrest and he has been sent to the court to be at least prosecuted. So, in the beginning, the mining committees were at the national level. Due to the pollution of our river bodies, as we speak, even within my own region, which the chiefs are aware, there are people mining along the major rivers, the black and white voltas. And so they have now decentralized the task force or the committees to take charge at the local level. Right from we have committees at the district levels up to the region. And those mining within 10 kilometers from the river body. You can mine, but it has to be 10 kilometers from the river body. So anybody within the 10 kilometers is arrested and prosecuted, no matter your status in community. And so we are doing this in collaboration with the chiefs. Most of these problems are coming as a result of chiefs allowing their own children. In my situation, I know that the problem that I have is that where the mining areas are, the chiefs are in collaboration with these people and they are polluting our land. So we began the education with the chiefs, and now we are instituting what we call the mining task force to arrest those people. And so our problem was that we couldn't get speedboats along the river. You go with your military, the police, the task force, and see the people mining right in the middle of the river, but you cannot go there. At a point, they will even sit on this and be making fun of you because none of them can swim. So we placed out with the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, and my region, which is one of the mining regions, I've been given a speedboat. Currently, I've sent 10 boys there. We are training them as to how to use this speedboat so that we will get rid of all these men and that way. So a lot is being done in that area. Thank you very much.
So what type of communication have you had with the Ghanaian ambassador to the United States? What information have you guys exchanged? What conversations have you started?
Yeah, because I think the first conversation we had, it was formal, but the ambassador was changed barely 2-3 months ago. I'm not very sure. Okay. So there's a new one who has come, okay. And I was there when he visited the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. Okay. But I cannot tell what they discussed because I also went to discuss after when she came. I believe at that level they've had a communication, and we are waiting for her to visit us in the region because she has toured the region, and from there we'll put whatever we have on the table for her on this pollution of our river bodies and other environmental hazard that we got in Ghana. I think it's a worry to all the ambassadors, and they are doing a lot in that area. Sure.
So do you have a list?
Let me add something small.
Yeah.
Sure.
The immediate ambassador
Sure.
who left the country, she has been so good, very cooperative. For that reason, we even installed her as Share Nat Queen Mother.
Okay. Yeah.
So she's a queen, she's a traditional queen in Oja land. Is king by the overlord of Oja traditional.
So I think we'll have to formalize our communication to us regional task force so that we'll see the way forward. Yes. I think, but I was there when she came and met the minister of that sector, and I believe that's one of the things that we have been talking about.
Okay.
Now over here.
So you have one more, then we'll go to our next.
Yeah, Minister, I'd like you to speak to, particularly relating to investors. Investors are often very concerned about bureaucracy, the bottlenecks just about everywhere, and also the ability to repatriate their foreign earnings. Definitely one have an easy way or a much softer way to repatriate whatever profits that they make. And it's been one of the issues in many economies. And then also for investors coming in, are you going to be looking at the social responsibility of investors within the community, the localities that they operate? There are investors who come, waste the land, repatriate their profits, and that's the end of the story. So do we have this in the investment code that ensures that investors coming in, whether local investors or foreign investors, doesn't really matter, but whether or not they have a commitment to the community in which they operate. And then lastly, the industries that we're going to have in Savannah, are we going to find a way to make sure that the local people benefit by way of having refineries, for example, of clinker in Buipewura? If there's a need for refineries, are the refineries located in the region? So we can employ, we can hire more people, the local people have access to labor in that area. Can you speak to these concerns?
Yeah, so thank you very much. I think with repatriation of resources or whatever they get from the investment, that one I think is everywhere. If someone comes to America, for instance, to invest, definitely you have to send something home. It's normal. But we have to understand that there's what we call corporate responsibility of each investor. And as I speak, I can take Buipewura, the cement factory, for example, which is established and is operational. They have contributed a lot, not within the area, because I know they've sited boreholes, renovated schools, built schools within the local community, and I've also seen that they've even donated cement to other organizations, institutions like the Ghana Education Service within the Savannah region to at least look at some of the renovations that they are doing. So when it comes to labor, I can top management. It is always very difficult to get people at that level, because my visit to that, to that factory, the management level, you may have one or two Ghanaians there, but when you come to the lower ends of the factory, I can say 90% to 95% of them are the local people. So a lot of people are employed within that locality or that community. So the only way communities or investors pay back to the communities in Ghana is employment opportunities for the local people. 2, corporate responsibilities. What are you going to do for the people where the industry is located? And I'll give you a typical example. One of the gold mining areas in Bamboi area, where there's exploration already taking place. The man has built even schools, boreholes for the communities in that area, and even bought a pickup truck for the chief of that area because he didn't have a means of transport. So this is how it depends on how inspectors, for me as I call myself as an inspector, not a minister, because I have to see what those investors are doing for my people, because that is what matters most to me. And so I am always inspecting their social responsibility to the people. And so this is how that is done. What is the second part of your question? You asked something like that.
Repatriation of their earnings.
Yeah, repatriation, that, like I said.
The refineries.
Yes.
Refineries in the
Absolutely. That one, it depends on the agreement at that level. That is at the national level. When these documents were being signed, there should be some conditions that this amount of money has to be retained in the country. And this amount, I know, Chief, the clinker that I'm talking about, the limestone, most of it, the man who has the mining concession, most of it is carried to the Burkina Faso.
That is what I'm talking. That's exactly my.
And so I followed up on that. Okay. So when he goes to sell them at Burkina Faso, they pay the money directly into a local bank account. I checked that. So as what happens after the money has been paid into the local bank accounts here, that one I can't tell. I've gone that far to check. So when they send the goods out to Burkina Faso, they pay the money in Burkina Faso into their local accounts. So that one I'm 100% sure. But what happens after that, I can't tell. That I can't.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, Chief. Yeah.
Make it short for us.
Very short.
Yeah.
Yes. Listening to you, I think we need to go back to the drawing board, collaboration with our chiefs. The region has to have some percentage of profits from the investments in our region.
Yeah.
We need to go back to a drawing table. We shouldn't, that means not decentralized. So most or some of the profit goes to the Ghana government fund.
Sure, sure.
But we also need to have some in our region to be able to develop.
Yeah, Chief, let me come in here. You see, the whole thing has to do with the particular traditional area these things are. You see, what the government does is that they will take their percentage and later pay it back into the traditional account through the lands commission, or as two lands. They pay it back to the two lands. But what is happening is that every traditional area takes its royalties. So it's not like the way Ashanti is functioning. Ashanti is functioning in a way that whatever royalties is taken by a particular traditional area, part of it goes to the center. You understand? So we have that problem. And let me give you a typical example. Chief is here, and I always like to use Chief because of the support he gives to me when these ideas come. We tried to centralize the gold mining industry in the Savannah region. He's here. Said that we will know that this is the amount of money or gold that a particular investor has had over a year. This quantum has to be paid in terms of money or in gold to the Savannah Regional House of Chiefs. It failed. You see, it failed woefully because we didn't get support of some of the traditional rulers. And I'll give you an example. We didn't get support from Sonyora. We didn't get support from the Buipewura. That is where they feel that the gold is in their heart. And so no other chief should benefit from it. And so they go to take it, their royalties, at the expense of the Savannah Regional House of Chiefs. And that is the difficulty.
And one of the reasons
Yeah.
here is that in the issuance of the certificates, there has not been any provision or the involvement of the regional House of Chiefs or the regional administration in the issuance of the certificate.
Yeah.
So you cannot enforce that. But if they decentralize it and the regional minister or the regional administration, let me do
Yeah.
the regional
Coordinating
and the
Council.
regional coordinating council
Yeah.
is part of the issuance of the certificates. Definitely, provision
We are,
will be made.
we are supposed to give permission. When the certificate is given at the national level, it comes to my table for me to give permission for them to approve. But the thing has to do with the chiefs in those particular areas.
We need to
So,
go back to a drawing
yes.
board. To a drawing board.
And so they
And
find
make-
it difficult to understand that royalties, there are so many examples of this. See, the traditional secretary is here. People don't understand why there will be charcoal burning, commercial charcoal burning, which obviously is not good, but ongoing, that you want to go and take money for the traditional area, you use it to develop the entire Buipewura. They will say that the charcoal is not in from their area, so it's in their area. So then I think we have to do a lot about it,
Yeah,
and we have to put things in order for us to be able to. So from here, I think when we get back, I'll still sit with my
Yeah.
chiefs and we'll see the way forward.
Yeah, we need to go back
Thank
to the
you,
drawing
thank
board.
you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's give Minister a great explanation, and I think we'll have more time once all our guest speakers do their presentation. So get your pen and paper and just jot everything down, and the question be one or two. Then when we finish, we're doing like having our, chewing or something. Then we having a conversation. At this juncture, I would like to have our next guest speaker, Honorable Lacey Cruz, Commissioner for Sedgwick County. Did I say it right? Let's give it a hand. Yeah, that's honorable.
Thank you. Oh, I'd just like to sit. Would that be
Okay, that's fine.
I'd just like to sit. First of all, thank you so much for having me today. I really am here to learn, quite frankly. There's a lot to learn. Your presentation, as you can see, I have printed this out. I have been making notes. I have read through it about 3 different times, and so it's really just a matter of learning exactly how I can be effective. I think when you say going back to the drawing board, the thing for me is I'm a very visual learner, and so to understand the ins and outs of how government structure works, and then how does it make sense to pair an investor, an American investor, who really is very selfish, I'd say. If you think about what's happening in the United States today, and Abby and I were talking just about what's happening in our country as a whole. There's a very divisiveness. I would say that a lot of things are bubbling up under the surface in our school systems. We're not even really taught the real history of slavery. We're not taught the actual history of our nation, how it was developed, who developed it. And so I kind of want to just get back to basics. For me to be a voice and someone who is really trying to learn all of this, it's got to start really, how do Americans even perceive Ghana as a whole? I went to Ghana in 2020. I was there for 11 days. It was a very quick, you think 11 days is a little bit of time, but it wasn't very much time at all. I had the opportunity to go to Cape Coast Castle. I visited with the Ministry of Aviation. And so really just, I had my own preconceived notions as a very white woman growing up as a very privileged, in a very privileged place. I had to really understand the culture, which I'm still learning, obviously. And that's a huge barrier, I think, for a lot of people, especially in Wichita, Kansas, where I come from. And so this, just sitting here listening to this, I'm trying to make sense of your financial structure, right? As a commissioner, we handle infrastructure as well. We have permitting, we have zoning laws, we have a lot of those things that are the first kinds of questions that someone would ask. Well, what are the bureaucracies that we have to get through? And that's why I asked about the ambassador, what kind of relations and who have we already worked with that I could work with while I'm here. And so that's really what I kind of want to talk about. The other thing is, when I went to Ghana for the first time, and the only time, we talked about a lot about aviation. And as Wichita, Kansas, Sedgwick County is the aviation capital of the world. We have Spirit Aerosystems, we have Textron, we have Bombardier, Cessna. I'll just read, in 1916, Clyde Cessna signed the contract to start manufacturing planes in Kansas. Since then, the greater Wichita region has pioneered aviation and manufacturing with a culture of innovation, building iconic planes, revolutionizing manufacturing with composites and cultivating an industry synergy. The world's great aviation brands like Textron, Beechcraft, Cessna, Airbus, Bombardier, and Spirit have working with more than 450 world-class suppliers. We're really sort of a hub. And so we talked about an MRO, a maintenance, repair, and overhaul. And I read an article around Ghana getting their first MRO. And so what does that mean? How do people fly over Ghana? What are the routes that aviation takes over West Africa? 4% of, only 4% of the MROs are in West Africa. And so how can we reroute those routes? How do we think about defense contracts? You know, I think it's really important, especially from, a trade, continental trade, we talk about we have to seize opportunities to lead globally, and it's critical to advancing not only Ghana's economy, but America's economy, and to securing interest at all levels. So when we think about, the United States likes to spend money on defense contracts. That's a huge thing. We love our military. And so we have the National Institute of Aviation Research at Wichita State. In 1985, there was an effort to increase and develop capabilities focused on the needs of the air capital of the world. And NIAR, the National Institute for Aviation Research, expanded, and we now have huge defense contracts. They have a $190 million annual budget, a staff of 1,000. We do a lot of research around defense. And so how do we, as partners in the U.S., build partners in Ghana particularly because of the safe aspect? I mean, I'll tell you, I didn't even know what I was getting myself into, okay? But as somebody who's never flown internationally at all, as one of 2 white people on the whole plane, I never once felt unsafe. I mean, it's really a reverse, right? I mean, when you see, I live in a very conservative, blood red Kansas, okay? I do represent a very large population of African Americans and Latinos, and so I've had to do a lot of cultural competency, like understanding my own bias to really be able to understand how I fit in this world and how the people that I represent fit in this world too. And so I'm saying a lot. I really hope that what I'm trying to get across is I need a map of how all of these things fit with the investors that are currently in Ghana right now. Who as an American company is already in Ghana? to explain further all of the opportunities that you've expressed and shown. But then how do the government structures function? And so that's really what I'm looking to understand, because I do feel like I can be an asset. And I've been asking, what is my role? Why am I here? And so I want to explore that further so that, I mean, because quite frankly, I'm not really sure what it is. So I want to figure that out. But I'm here because I know that there is potential. I think that I'm excited to bring all the opportunities back to Wichita, not only in aviation, but in healthcare. We also have Bell helicopters. Like, how do people get transported to health facilities? How do we handle those kinds of things? So that's all I really wanted to talk to you about. I hope that we can further the conversations in a more informal setting, but I'd be happy to answer any questions. Anybody?
Okay, Dion, you raise your hand.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm late. County Committee with Dion Powell, 797 District. Now, I've been in last year too. It was great. So my question to you is, being from Kansas, do you know anybody that deals with government contracts? Because I dealt with grants.gov, and USAID actually is trying to figure out ways to bridge the government and other agencies, the Mission Department of Defense. They waste money for fun. So if we can find a way with these guys in the economics to bridge those gaps with those agencies, the international office can help facilitate American interests, as it were. If you know any contractors on the ground, for example, Deloitte has an office in Ghana, and you know that kind of. That's
they have a smart factory. They just built a smart factory in Wichita, the Innovation Campus. Yeah.
Right. So that may be a good way to connect.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I just had something that has split my mind because I see that Francis has joined us finally. Welcome. Yeah, I met with the gentleman who is in charge of Africa, like over Africa for Textron Aviation, and so he would be probably another. His name's Wes, or excuse me, Ben, and so I'd be happy to chat with you about that. But thank you for that suggestion. Sure.
Okay. Thank you all very much. I think now this will be our speaker seat, and if we have to move it around, we'll move it around. At this point, we're going to have Miss Charity in the house. You can see, can you hear me, Miss Charity? Unmute yourself, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. The floor is yours, and welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored and pleased to be in you all's presence on today. Wish I could have been there in the city with you, but you know, things happen and schedules happen, but I'm glad to be with you virtually. First of all, before I get started, many thanks to the host, Sir Francis Opai-Tete and Madam Catherine. Thank you so much for inviting me on today, our esteemed panel of speakers, listening audience, and our esteemed traditional overlord, His Royal Majesty Jinapor II. I hope I did not mispronounce your name. And just to everyone, thank you again for being here. This is a very timely conversation that we're having, and I will just give you all this kind of overview because we're kind of late on the time. I want to make sure that there's enough time for the other speakers, so I will not take all of my time. I'll try to condense my presentation in such a way that you get the gist of it, and if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer those for you. Now, you all asked me to talk about why I am returning to Ghana, and that's a loaded question, and you probably should give me a day to talk about that. We'll get to that in a little bit. About myself, I have spoken in over 30 countries, most of them in Europe and in North America, talking about economic development and the impact now of the diaspora on global emerging markets. That's primarily what I talk about. I'm, again, an economic empowerment speaker, founder of a mobile app, and you can find that app on to you about why the diaspora should return to Africa in an economic, cultural, and spiritual way, and why now it's important that we do that. Well, first of all, somebody asked, well, why do we want to return? We were invited. And I cannot overstate or understate the importance of the President, His Excellency, Nana Addo, inviting the diaspora to return. You all know that we've kind of been riding this wave primarily in the diaspora about the return and why we should return and what does this mean to us, and we've never been invited back before. I will tell you that the implications of that resonate literally throughout the world, and to have that kind of invitation come at such a high level and why it comes now is extremely important. To give you a bit of history in the context of this, 2019, the UN acknowledged 400 years of the resilience of the diaspora. 400 years we've been at this. And essentially what they admitted is that you can't kill it. We don't die. All right, there is a strength and a resilience that is in us that has maintained us throughout every atrocity known to humankind. So with that being said, you know, we land here, first recording is in 1619, pardon. And so despite all of those obstacles, we survive, we thrive, and now we get this invitation to return. Now, what does that mean to us? I personally believe that this is a portal in time that is extremely unique, where we really have to take advantage of it. There's a lot happening on the global stage now, with China on the continent, with India on the continent, with Russian conversations happening. And so all of that has an impact on us in the diaspora and how we return and when we return. We can talk about how we saw some of the issues with people of African descent in Ukraine and their ability to escape harm because of that, or how were they impacted by that. Won't get into a political conversation, but again, all of this has an impact on the return and how we return. And I don't think that it is coincidental that the invitation comes at the 400-year mark, where we're now celebrating 400 years of African resilience, because simultaneously, while this invitation happened, we in the diaspora were having an awakening of identity and culture and longing. We heard our brother Malcolm X give the UN a plea to look at the condition of the diaspora during his lifetime, in my opinion, my humble opinion. That plea went unnoticed and unheard. However, now we're hearing a different kind of affinity and a different kind of allegiance of the continent with the diaspora, and now why we should connect. We're seeing now that there are places of synergy and collaboration and agreement and affinity and welcome that now makes it logistically possible, culturally advantageous, economically advantageous for us to now come together. So I believe it's now time for us to leverage where we are. We have this wave of the invitation. We have now the hearing and the answering of that from the diaspora, and now it's time for us to answer that in a very prominent and economic and cultural way. So why return? In 2021, I had the opportunity of going at the invitation of one of the kings of the Provo Nation, the Gilo Provo. And at his invitation, I was asked to come there. He had heard about some work that I had done with the UN, with the Day of the Girl Child, Girls in STEM, Economic Development, and why women should own land in these various areas. And he heard about that work, invited me to come, and I went. While there, I had the opportunity to see firsthand the beauty of God, the tenacity of its people, our people there. I had a chance to see the opportunities in agriculture, in minerals mining, in real estate development, which is my profession, by the way. And I also saw then, too, while we have this plethora of opportunities, we have a breakdown in possibly logistics and logistical partners at the table. How opportunity with the supply to now meet demand and build together a powerful economic engine in Ghana. So I saw that firsthand. And also during that time, we cannot again escape the cultural and the spiritual implication of going back through the doors of no return, right? And having the opportunity to reverse what was said over our ancestors, that we would never return, would never retain our name, our identity, our people, our language, our food, our love. We would never retain that. To go back and to notice and see that some of those traditions had been not only retained, but were now being celebrated at home in Ghana. It was absolutely refreshing, and it was a revival to me personally. With all of that, I was asked by the king if I would become a part of his kind of informal, formal coalition in bringing people, resources, logistics to not just the Yilo Provo, but now those conversations have opened to heads of state in the continent, to former presidents' sons. Just the opening up now of this dialogue has gone so much further than what we anticipated. And what we are finding is that now is the time for us to address a few things. One, real estate and infrastructure. Again, while there, had the opportunity to see that we have now 1 million houses in deficit, right? There's a housing crisis that is there in Ghana, and particularly in certain pockets, without getting into all of that. The bottom line is this: we have the opportunity in the diaspora to bring our skills, our money, our agriculture, our architecture. We have all of this that we can bring back to now partner with our citizens, our friends, our brothers, our sisters right there in Ghana to begin building what has the potential to be, again, a metropolis, not just for the diaspora, but for our brothers and sisters there in country as well. So when we look at the buying power and the spending power of the diaspora, research tells us that we're about the 4th largest GDP in the world. The diaspora is. So what that says to me is that we have buying power, but our economic power is not respected in a way that it should be. And so my plea to the diaspora is take your money, take your economies, take your resources into an environment where your buying and your spending power is celebrated, appreciated, can be leveraged and used in a way that now benefits not just you, but the communities, the cities, the country, the townships that we are investing in. And again, I can't think of a better place to do that than Ghana. Another thing, when we look at the millions of dollars that rotate within the diaspora, in our communities, we see that our money stays in our communities approximately 1.5 cycles before it exits to other communities. Again, what is that saying? It's saying that contrary to what you see on the news, and contrary to the numbers that you see people kind of pontificate and spew out about our economic condition, we have expendable income. We have the opportunity to leverage our investments, our retirement, our stocks, whatever we have at our disposal, we have it there. But our money is not respected in a way, and it's not reciprocated in a way that benefits us as a community. And so it is my belief that we should now take that money and put it in markets where it is not only, again, leveraged, but it's celebrated and it's welcome. When you look at the power of the dollar and the Ghanaian CD, I had this conversation with the founder of Diaspora Network TV, who's right there, he's housed in Ghana, and did a recent interview with him. And we talked about the power of the dollar and the Ghanaian CD. And when you look at what the dollar can do in that market when it's transformed into the Ghanaian CD, the buying power international currencies in a way that can bring substantial returns. And if done right, it is a win-win, not just for the continent, but for the diaspora who wants to relocate to the continent to do business there. Another reason why I am returning, we have the support of chiefs there. The chiefs there who are forward-thinking and ready for infrastructure. One of the things that I loved about what I saw in Ghana is land rich. The continent, though, itself is just land rich. And so the opportunities there to leverage this land in a way that brings infrastructure, not depletes the environment, not stripping it of its cultural significance, but truly leveraging it now for economic development. The continent, and specifically Ghana, the opportunities are endless there. We have the support of also heads of state. And then two, meet the real need for local jobs. One of the things that broke my heart the most is that we saw foreign industry come in, but local jobs were not created. And I'm trying to say that diplomatically, okay? The opportunity that lies ahead for the diaspora is to come in and bring not just our industry knowledge, but bring real economic empowerment that trickles all the way down to the local economy so that everyone has the opportunity to benefit from us being there and becoming parts of the landscape, becoming parts of the citizenry and more. So finally, in closing, why am I returning? One, I feel a real need and a call to do so. Secondly, I was invited to come back. Thirdly, my heart is there. In all of the 30 countries that I've spoken in Europe and North America, South America, never have I felt the sense of belonging and the sense of love and real commitment than I have in Africa, specifically in Ghana. I believe that we have a very strategic opportunity to now leverage where we are with the momentum of world events, with world economy, that we now have to step up, take our rightful place on the global stage, and become a part of what I believe is the next frontier. And I personally see Africa leading the head. So with that, I will turn it back over to you all, and hopefully that gives you some more time with your other speakers. But if there are any questions, I'm happy to take those as well.
Thank you, Ms. Shirley. I have Chief here. Okay, go ahead. We have two people. Then we move on to the next one.
have a simple appeal. 99% when the diasporans go to Ghana, they stay in the south. So I just want to make an appeal. Try to visit the northern part of Ghana too with your delegation. There are a lot of opportunities, just like what we are explaining today, what has brought us here today. So please, don't just stay in the southern part of Ghana. Try to visit the northern part. We have a lot of opportunities there.
At your request, my dear sir, absolutely. However, I can get the information. We will be there in June. I would love to schedule that to happen. That needs to happen. So, however we can get that information, my website is youcancreateyourown.economy.com for all those who are listening. Youcancreateyourown.economy.com. I can be reached on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and if you need my personal information, to the kind sir that just extended the invitation, I'm sorry I didn't see who that was. The host can get that to me. Madam Cujo, if you will, get that information to me.
Okay.
We will make that trip happen, June 2023.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Repeat, before Chief goes, Chief Buipewura, please repeat the site again.
The name of the app.
The name of the app.
The name of the app is Ms. Mobile. Ms. Mobile app. On Apple and Android. You should see it's white with a little gold crown on it, and it says Ms. Mobile.
Okay.
And we're working now to update all that information regarding the upcoming Trade Commission and more. You'll also see the information from the Roar Global Summit on there, and you can also go to roarglobal.org to watch the summit. Right? So we, all the world leaders who were there, we had the King of the Elo Provo there, we had Reverend Eddie Kufor, who was the former president's son. We also had Madam Cujo, we had Francis Tete there, wonderful speakers from Ghana, UK, Botswana, Latin America, and the U.S. there. So you can go to roarglobal.org to find out what's happening with the trade mission, and also the You Can Create Your Own Economy.com movement. Go to youcancreateyourown.economy.com. You can create your own economy.com. And we plan to see you all in June.
Yeah, Chief Buipewura, I want to ask you a question before you leave. Chief.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Chief wants to ask you a question.
Please, yes.
Okay.
Is this Chief you said?
Yes. Buipewura.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay.
It's not exactly a question, but I just want to add what my brother has said.
Okay.
Most people have the idea, or most people think that the diaspora, or let me say the slave trade, most people think that they are from the south. They are just the exit point. Every diaspora which is around comes from the north. All the slaves which were taken are all from the north. The only place is that the exit point and Mina, the other places, that Capus, people think they are from there. None of them. They have rather exploited us, and they continue to use the diaspora now to exploit us more. And that's why we're here.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Charity. We'll have more conversation. Let's clap for it. Thank you.
Bringing that one out.
Yes, at this moment we'll have Mr. Francis.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Francis will take over the stage and give his presentation. Mr. Francis, welcome once again. You made it. Are you ready for us?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
His Royal Majesty, may you live and reign forever and ever.
Thank you. Amen.
Thank you all for making it. Today is an important day. Okay, Mama, can I have is it possible to have it? Let me see.
And now, because we scream, you have to be here to do your presentation.
I have to be here.
Once you remove it, you're done.
I will share my screen.
Oh, okay. You want to share your screen? Sure. One second. We'll share screen now.
So, based, it's not just based on what Miss Charity said, but the fact is that by the end of this conference, we will be grateful if Buipewura will have the office or the desk, the Diaspora Relations desk, either at the Regional House of Chiefs or at the Bupe traditional area, so that that office will coordinate activities from the diaspora very, very well. So that when they come, they will not only remain in the south, but they will journey up to the north. That is the reason why we are also holding this conference in the first place. Initially, I was going to talk about Ghana being the gateway to Africa. And why is it a country with about 30 million people, with a land size that is just about the size of California, should be the gateway to Africa? By looking at the people, those of us in the room right now, I think I should rather change to why we must all focus our attention in the Savannah region. I don't know whether you agree with me.
Of course.
Yes, Ghana, we all know why Ghana, but I thought I was going to meet a couple of diasporans here so we can have that conversation. Why Ghana is really the gateway. Should I go that way? Which way? Which way? Please help me.
Savannah, yes.
Good. So when you look at this this particular conversation, the focus is on Savannah region, because Savannah region is a unique region. It's a region where we have ethnic, let me say, uniqueness, because it's one big family making the whole region. And when you look at the land size of the region, it's the biggest in the whole country. Last time we visited His Royal Majesty Buipewura, Jinapor II, and he made us aware for the first time that even the National Reserve on the Gonja land alone, the National Reserve alone, the Mali National Park alone, is bigger than the Greater Accra region. I said, what are you talking about? That is amazing. So this is a unique region, and I think all of us must focus on this particular region. So we are going out as the Jehovah's Witness will do. We'll go from home to home, from every phone call we do, every WhatsApp message we send. We are all going to focus on the Savannah region and how we can make the Savannah region great and strong again. So the issue of diaspora communications is very, very important. If there's through Kimama and the collaboration with Buipewura and all the team, we can have a homecoming festival specifically designed to attract the diaspora. I think that is one good thing we can do. The office will also have to see how they can coordinate visa activities for people who are coming from the diaspora, their traveling arrangements, accommodation arrangements, business meetings, those who want to go on tour of the region. All of these things will be worked out perfectly by the desk or the Diaspora Relations desk and the office of Buipewura. One thing Buipewura should also take back with your Majesty is that, like you said, the people in the diaspora, both in North America, South America, in the Caribbean, and all over the place, they are all your sons and daughters. And I am happy you made that position clear, that they are your sons and daughters. Because if nothing at all, you have the Salaga slave market to show. You have the Salaga slave well to show. And you have a whole lot of things, those slave raiders around Ivory Coast, the kind of mayhem they did. And even the Gonja Kingdom itself, the number of people you are supplied to Ashanti Kingdom, human resource. Look at how difficult it is to give birth to somebody, raise the person to a certain age, and then you just get the person, go and give it to another kingdom as a ransom. That is an unpardonable thing that has happened in our history, but we are here to make corrections. So remember that if those people are your sons and daughters, then like I said, we need something that will attract them to come back home. And one of the things we need to do is for the region, when they come, to officially adopt them as real sons and daughters of the land. And if you adopt them either into the regional House of Chiefs, then Gonja land has a lot of traditional areas. Bupe is one of them. Then we will have to do allocations where they will have to go. The moment that allocations are done, then official naming ceremonies will be organized. So if you are from Bupe, the Bupe naming ceremony will be done for you. If you are from Bole, from Salanga, wherever we allocate them, the naming ceremonies will be held for these people very, very well. Then after the naming ceremony, they can decide to choose a project, a legacy project they want to do. Because most of the time they come there, we install them as development chief. And this person wants to say that I'm interested in girl child education. That person said I'm interested in library project. That person will say I'm interested in small scale business promotion. So they will come, but when they come, we should put in place structures to adopt them officially. When we adopt them, we should give them a kingdom, a traditional area that they should be connected with officially. Then the naming ceremony of Gonja land should be held and giving them a name. And then we should encourage and assist them to have a legacy project so that in future their sons and daughters can also go back to the land and say that yes, once upon a time, our mother, our father was on Gonja land, he was officially adopted and given this name, and this is the project that he has done in the memory of our family. Like I said, Gonja land is a blessed land. Last time I learned that the founder of the land, Buipewura, conquered, waged wars, expanded the territories, and did all of this and died at the age of 43 years. My goodness. And what that he had toiled for has not been referred to as the Gonja Kingdom or the Savannah region. I'm a Southerner, but what I'm wearing right now, I got it from Gonja land. They don't just do the weaving. They have special way of dyeing to get beautiful colors like this. Last time at the University of Ghana, Institute of African Studies, they told me they are doing a project on Gonja land, trying to see how they were able to use plant extract to dye fabrics to get the colors they are looking for. And I told them, is that happening in Ghana? He said, yes. These are some of the things that are happening that we don't know. So the smoke and the textile industry is one of the areas that we are encouraging the diaspora to take a look at. Whatever we are wearing here, we're not procured from China. They were made right in Gonja land. And it's so beautiful. Is it not beautiful? See my apron. It's not beautiful. Tell me. Cosmetics. They can use the shea butter, which is gotten there raw, transform it to whatever you want to do. Recently, I was talking to a lady in Dubai, and he said that he would just go beetroot, squeeze the beetroot and the water out of it, mix it with the shea butter, and that is what they use to coat their leaves. So if you see anybody with the pink leaves and you love it, go back to Gonja land. They have the shea butter that is used to cotton dyes. Is that not wonderful? Not just the shea butter. Because of the natural reserve they have there, they have plants in their natural state, medicinal plants. So if you are a herba into herbal medicines, which that is where the world is moving now to, they call it the agroceuticals, where they use plant extract to make medicines to heal people. I can assure you that the Savannah region has all manner of tree species that are for medicinal purposes. Agro-processing. They grow a lot of cereals and grains and legumes, and because there's no factories to process them, their shelf lives are not that extended, so they either sell them, they are so cheap, or they go bad. We need to correct all of this. Gonja land has a commercial deposit of limestone, which is the major component for cement manufacturing. All of these are major industries that we can, if we really want to focus on the Savannah region, that we can do. I know the regional minister for Savannah region, we are so happy to have him around. Buipewura, who is the vice president of the Savannah Regional House of Chiefs, himself is here. I know they have spoken extensively about the Savannah region already. But I'm here to add that even me from the southern part, if I'm talking passionately about the Savannah region, then we do not have any reason to feel this beautiful region that has been given unto us. Apart from the cement, brick and tiles, we live on the tropics. This cement and mortar is not really our thing. if you really want to ask us, is about brick and tile. And because you have a region where white voter will come from another country, and then black voter also from another country coming to merge in this particular region. Is it not a wonderful region? And because of this, we also have play in this region that if you want to go into brick and tile business, you can go into it without any struggle. All of these are there. Recently, the youth of this particular region, the Savannah region we are talking about, traveled all the way to Niger in West Africa, northern part of West Africa. And then they went to contest in conventional wrestling. There were 6 trophies or 6 awards at stake. This youth from the Gonja land managed out of the 6, brought 4 to Ghana. And one thing they brought that I was so excited about, the overall laureate or award is a sword. They brought that one to get also back to Ghana. So recently during the National Beads and Ornament Expo, we invited them, and Gamanje put these beads officially around their necks to say that even those of us in the South are so excited and grateful for your achievement, because wrestling is almost dead and in Ghana nobody knows about it. But it is an original Gonja or Savannah region tradition that men do not exchange words in public. If you think you are strong enough, let's meet at the public square. That is where men are separated from women. And such a beautiful tradition is dying. And we have the youth together with our chiefs reviving this beautiful sports. So if the guys are known for boxing, the other tribes are known for football, others for other trade. For us in Savannah region, we have chosen to revive the traditional wrestling. What we need to give these people is simple. We need a multi-purpose gym. Gym for the wrestlers and gym for those who want to become boxing, who want to go into boxing. Because these 2 trades are important in the global arena. If you're a boxer, you make a lot of money. And America has a lot of boxers to show. So all that we are saying is that for the youth and sports aspect of the Savannah region, we are inviting the diaspora, because we know you have the resources, you have the technical know-how. When it comes to some of these things, we need a multi-purpose gym in Savannah region for the youth, for those who want to take wrestling as a profession, and those who want to do boxing as a profession. Recently I met with them, and we are even discussing how we can use their faces for billboards, for advertisement, for energy drinks in the South and all over the place. That is what we have in the Savannah region, and we want to make good use of it. Apart from the gym, we also want to have a sports exchange program for the youth. That the people who are into wrestling and boxing in America can come to the Savannah region to meet their young people there. And then the young people can also come over and see what they do. If you say somebody is Mayweather, if somebody is Mike Tyson, if somebody is this, where did they train? The youth should have that opportunity. As for tourism, don't go there. There's no region in Ghana that can compete with the Savannah region when it comes to tourism. Is it cultural tourism? Ecotourism? Whatever tourism you want to talk about, they have it in excess. But unfortunately, like Buipewura said from the beginning, we think everything is in the South. So you want to see cultural tourism, you go to Mensha Palace, then you think you have seen enough, then you get back. No, that is wrong. Savannah region has been able to preserve even the footsteps of ancient leaders have been preserved, that you can go and see. The tombs of ancient leaders, conquerors, have been preserved. The Salagaslet market, and that is where personally, if I want to build a hotel in Ghana, you want to build a multi-purpose building in Ghana, I want to build it around the Salagaslet market area, because it's going very soon. It's going to be the center of attraction for the diaspora, because we have to remember where we have fallen, so we will not repeat those mistakes again. So ecotourism in terms of waterfalls, animals, plants, they have it. If you talk about cultural tourism, they have one of the finest cultures globally. If you want to talk about history, they have it. Then the most important among them all is religious tourism. I don't understand why we have not turned the Savannah region into Africa's Mecca. When people go to Mecca, what do they go to see? They go around a black stone, they pray, they throw stuff. There is the oldest, if I'm not mistaken, the oldest mosque in the entire sub-region, because it was built in 1420 by a Saudi migrant. It is resting right now. The Gonja people of the Savannah region has been able to preserve this edifice, and it's still there. We were told that before this migrant chose a site for this particular structure, he sat on a certain stone to throw a javelin. And where the javelin landed is where they sited the mosque. That stone is still there. They call it the mystic stone. And I am so grateful that recently when Madam Capricujo visited the region, Buipewura gave him a whole 4-wheel drive to go there to see the stone. And we took pictures. And it's an amazing thing. So if there's a stone in Mecca, and that's why people go to Mecca every year. If there is Islam, and that's why people go there every year. For us in Savannah region, we also have another project for people to travel to come and see. And that is the Paga Mosque and the Mystic Stone. We're going to make noise about. I met a chief recently, and he was telling me about how smart Ashanti people are. They will go there, buy a pot, a cooking pot, chew cola nut, rub it around it, put it in the sun for the sun to dry it properly, and then they will go and leave it in a very cold, dark room. And within a year or two, it looks moldy and very ancient. So you go there, they will tell you this is the pot from which Yasantua used to drink water from, and you pay money and you watch. That is smartness. So we have mosque, and the amazing thing about this mosque is that when the migrant died, where they buried him, a baobab tree sprouted on the tomb, and that one too has been preserved. What mystery again are we looking for? I believe that we can conveniently transform the Savannah region into the next religious pilgrimage that Muslims, if not globally, at least Muslims in Ghana, Muslims within West Africa can also go there and see some of these things for ourselves. You want to talk about agriculture, animal husbandry, crop husbandry, because of the black and the white water merging on the Savannah region, fishing and fish farming is something that we can conveniently go into. If you want to do agricultural inputs and like machines and implements, seeds and fertilizers and all of that, these are all avenues that we can use to make Savannah region great and strong. Savannah region is not only agriculture and water bodies. You also have gold deposits. They have recently, I don't know whether Buipewura and the regional minister have spoken about it, but I know it's a potential avenue for crude oil mining, drilling as well. Then, igneous rocks for quarry. Recently, I was in Burkina Faso, and I saw trucks pulling rocks, quarry product from Ghana to Burkina Faso for their residential and other construction activities. So if you set up a quarry site in Savannah region, I can assure you that people will come even as far as Burkina Faso to patronize your product. So this is a strategic region, very, very strategic. And as I bring my conversation to a close, if you want to also turn your attention to education and training, we have a lot of schools that are teaching human resource, accounting, on all those things. Enough of that. Savannah region is interested in skill production. So one technical training institute. If you have any engineering school at the university, here in the USA, would want to have a collaboration or a satellite campus in the Savannah region, we want to focus on technical education. We want to focus on engineering. We want to see we want to assemble mobile phones and laptops in the Savannah region. These are the things we want to do. We don't want to buy them and use them. We want to at least buy the parts and then assemble them there in the region, so that the whole Ghana will become a hub for assembling some of these electronic gadgets. And our transportation, please. A lot of people use bicycles, tricycles, and then boats for fishing. We want to build it in Savannah region. Recently, I was in Wake, in Ivory Coast, to negotiate for tricycle assembly plant for Ghana. And initially, we had wanted to site it at Tashaima. But upon our conversation and our work with the Buipewura, now we are bringing the tricycle assembly plant to be sited right at within the Savannah region. Unfortunately, we were supposed to go and buy the raw materials, procure the raw materials from China. But if we can get that from America, that would be good news. Because Ghana, we believe that whatever comes from America is of superior quality. We want to assemble our tricycles, our bicycles, and at least our fishing boats. If we can do this, later when we master the art, then we can look at the buses and other things. On that note, I just want to say thank you so much for paying attention to me as I ask you to join us, for us together go and make the Savannah region great and strong. God bless you.
Thank you. As our culture demands, when the chief speaks, nobody else speaks. That's why we save the best for the last. If I need two people ask Mr. Francis question, then we move on to Buipewura, and he gave his speech to us.
Mine is quite a bit, but I'll just make it simple. Thank you very much for all that you said. The minister pretty much, spoke a lot on the things that you talked about. On all the things that you're talking about, bringing this and doing all this to the country, energy. Because in doing all these things, energy is, very crucial. And as we know with Ghana issue with energy, what is it like, when it comes to energy in that part of the region? By bringing all these investors, you want to make sure that, the energy is a must. And then secondly, which I'll make it very simple, logistics, your roads, to transport all the way there. I know Kibama mentioned that you can fly by within an hour, but in terms of setting up businesses, not only going to Ivory Coast or Burkina Faso, but let's say bring it to the southern part too, because let's say most of the things like the southern part. So how easy to transport without having crucial breakdown on your roads and stuff like that to that part of the region?
Thank you very much. I'm so grateful. So, like I said, by way of transportation, yes, you can fly to Tamale, and Savannah region used to be part of the northern region, and it was recently taken out after the 2018 referendum. So you can fly in there. Yes, our roads, the road from Accra, let me say from Kumasi all the way to the northern region, is not bad at all. It's rather the one from Kumasi to Accra that needs fixing. And we have heard the politicians said they're going to invest it. Because if you go to our neighboring country like Ivory Coast, right from Abidjan to Wake, it's double in, double out. So it makes transportation smooth. And you can also see that Mali, Ivory Coast, Mali, Niger, you all transport their goods on our roads. So there are one major reason why our roads do not really last. But fortunately, beyond Akosomo Dam, all the way to Buipewura's land, water transportation is another area we should explore. And I'm happy, I don't know whether Buipewura spoke about it, but there's a plan to build an inland port at Bupe, which will be so strategic. So when the goods hit Tema or Takrady Harbour, they move them to a spot where we can transport them on the water to Bupe, or even on the road to Bupe, or if you want to airlift them, then we'll have that inland port there that can serve the entire region, northern region, northeast, upper west, upper east, and then beyond to Burkina Faso and Mali. For energy, I know the politicians are best people to talk about how we're going to deal with the energy. But if you look at Savannah Region, for instance, it's such that between November up to let's say May, it's completely dry. That I don't know why our traffic lights should be powered by Akosobo hydro electricity. Solar is one thing we should all be looking at. I saw some study that had been done, and they said that the entire Sahara Desert can power the whole world, supply the whole world with electricity. I think we have a lot that we are not looking at. And that is the reason why we brought all this conversation for Buipewura and his team to leave all they're doing, so that when we all come here, sit down and have this conversation is dear to our heart. We really, really want to see a paradigm shift.
Thank you very much.
The energy. And the government has supplied 40,000 acres of land in the grid to construct energy.
So that's an area of investment that people can also tap into.
Yeah, so thank you, Papa. God bless you. Hello.
Yes, thank you. I was wondering about religious diversity, especially when we're wanting to attract more people from the diaspora into the Northern region. I know that Christianity and Islam have very prominent position in that region, but I'm wondering about other traditional spiritual religious practices. How prominent are they?
Thank you. So I talked about the culture in the north is so solid. Yes, we have those who believe in Islamic religion. Thank you very much. They are there. The Christians are there. But the conventional African traditional religion is also prominent there. You understand? And we are so proud of them that they've been able to preserve all of this. We talk about Titanic, we talk about Olympics, we talk about Aphrodite. All of these are Greek gods' names. But names of Greek gods. But we are so comfortable when we talk about them. But we talk about African God, they say is voodoo, is juju, they give you all manner of names. I'm saying that in the northern part of Ghana, Christians have their say, the Muslims have their say, the traditional African religion is also prominent there. And Ghana, constitutionally, we have, what do you call it, freedom of religion. As long as your religion does not infringe on anybody's human right, you are given the mandate to express it. So the traditional religion is there. They use a lot of herbs, things to heal us and do a lot of things. So yes, it's there. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, I want to see, every year New York City organize marathon.
New York City.
Yeah, they organize marathon. I
Okay.
want to see how we can also organize marathon in Savannah Region, so that as time goes on, we get best runners. We can bring them in to come and compete.
Good.
So let's see how we can explore that.
Thank you. Thank you. So from here, I'm going to hook you on so that we'll pick it up from there immediately.
Okay.
I don't know whether you know about Cosmos.
Cosmos Energy.
No. It's a guy in the world travel and tours in Northern Region. His name is Muniru. He's Muniru Bahama Cosmos.
Okay.
Yes, I'll send you this information. He's very, very, very knowledgeable about tourism in Northern Ghana. He's won national best tour guide award 3 times.
Wow. And he's a son of the land.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's how I got introduced to the Northern region through Cosmos.
Thank you very much. At this juncture,
Through Cosmos. So I'll send you this information.
thank you.
Thank you very much. God bless you. Wonderful presentation.
Yes, at this juncture, His Majesty Buipewura will give his speech to us and those who are watching from afar to know more about his region. Your Highness.
Which, Madam, yes, my Justin, I just want to talk about the historical connection of the diaspora and the Gonja people. Historical connection between Gonja and the African diaspora in the US. Madam President, Hafid Kujo, sponsors and co-sponsors of this roundtable, revered personalities, ladies and gentlemen, all I bring you good tidings from His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, the good and hospitable people of Ghana and Africa as a whole. The King of Gonja and President of Savannah Region House of Chiefs, Professor Jinapor the sends you his heartwarming felicitations and prayers for a successful round. Madam President, it is delighted that I am here today to address the African Diaspora Business and Investment Roundtable in New York. On the topic, historical connection between Gonja and the African diaspora. Madam President, history has it that the Gonjas appeared in modern Ghana very early in the 16th century. Currently, their language is spoken by an estimated of 6,000 people, almost all of whom are of the Gonja ethnic group of Savannah Region. The Gonjas belong to the larger Guan ethnic group and have the oldest written historical records, also called Gonjas or Manya. The latter means brave men. The Gonjas derive their name from a corrupted Hausa phrase, Kada Gura Guru Ja, meaning land of red gold. The Gonjas had their history recorded by Arab Muslims and Islamic scholars who accompanied them to this part of the world. According to Arabic manuscript and oral tradition, the Gonjas, who were originally Madicos, also known as Madikas, migrated from the country of Mali, that is, from the Mali Empire. Many years before the Adira year 1000, they traveled to Segu in southern Mali and then approached the Boli area through the Côte d'Ivoire. The earliest recorded version of the Diaspora epic in a substantially its modern form is to be found in an ancient Arabic chronicle from 1567 to 1712. There was a power struggle between two groups of Madika, the Mamra and his clan, and the latter Mbanya, whose leader was latter Japa. At some time between 1550 and 1575, the great Askiadeo of Songhai found that the supplies of gold from the southern country were getting smaller. The main reason was that Akan gold producers had been selling some of their production to Portuguese and other European traders along the sea wall. Askedela accordingly dispatched a force of Mandika armed cavalry to see what could be done. Those armed horsemen, the bulldozing tanks of these tanks, rode south from the neighborhood of Jenny until they reached the Blackwater bend of modern Ghana. These horsemen were the ancestors of the present-day warriors. The horse riders were armed with swords and oil spears. In war, the horsemen acted as cavalry. The Gojers discovered that cavalry could not operate in the dense forest where the Akan lived and smelted gold. Madam President, there is a historical connection between the Goja and African Americans. This link is through the infamous slave trade. The Goja area of northern Ghana suffered severe and repeated raids from slave traders. The raids by Samaru, Chure, and Babatu for slave capture consumed, cost untold hardship to the people of the Middle Belt zone of Ghana, where the Gojas are the largest group. We were meeting here today with some of the descendants of those slaves captured, sold, and transported to Europe and America. Therefore, you are our brethren, rather than you thinking that Elmina, rather than you think that the Elmina is your home. Elmina was only an exit point in Ghana or Gold Coast. Your home is the Savannah region of the Republic of Ghana. That is your home. The sighting of the slave market at Salaga in the East Goja area further accentuated to the prominence and mystery that this deadly human action brought on the Gojas. Goja reacted courageously to this by engaging the Ashantis in a war in 1875. Historians have recorded the bravery of the Goja chief called Kankraf, who was forced to pay tribute of 300 slaves annually to the Ashanti. To bring the barbaric and dehumanizing act to an end, Kankraf of the Waya, in a suicide mission, got himself together with a mission from the Ashanti Kingdom, consumed in blazing gun order. The Sultanate of that time had sent an emissary made of warriors to the Waya to demand the annual payment of slaves by the Goja in the Ashanti Kingdom. In open and brave protest, he asked his people to set gunpowder around him and burn them alive. This is the contribution of the Goja Kingdom towards the world's fight to stop slavery. The Savannah region of Ghana up to date is suffering under these effects of the slave trade. So now, the Goja Kingdom that we have been talking about since 2019 has become the Savannah region of Ghana. The region occupies a very large geographical space. The region is the largest in Ghana. The population of the Savannah region is sparse because of the dehumanizing slave trade at that time. The region is blessed with abundance of natural resources, large expanse of agricultural land, several rivers, Black and White Volta complex in the Goja Kingdom, and other water bodies, large mineral deposits, and friendly people. Madam President, to conclude, the Savannah region is the largest region in Ghana in terms of land mass, with a total of 37,862 kilometers. It constitutes 16.09% of the total land area of Ghana, which has the capacity to sustain agricultural production. Historically, the people of this area suffered from the burdens of slave trade. The largest slave market of Salaga and large wells for bathing attest to this cruel depopulation of this ecological enclave. According to the earliest population data in 1960, the area was virtually inhabited with 6.3 persons per kilometer. Logically, market drive were there are locally available resources. Hence, the establishment of the slave market in Goya land, precisely Salaga. The ecological diversity of the region creates a great tourism potentials. It is close to Mole and Bui National Parks and Kerikeri Forest Reserves. Additionally, the area is host to the largest slave market, wells, the Paga Mosque, and the Biscuit Store. The Boya Small Community Industry and Salt Grain wells. Buipewura area place of Indewura Japa. Kurmasa eco tourist sites of crocodiles, ponds. Kayiri and Wawatu water falls, among others. Similarly, approximately 18,487 kilometers of the region total land area is classified as agricultural land, World Bank 2020. About 75,067 hectares of this land is under cultivation. Smallholder grain-fed farming using traditional technologies dominate the agricultural sector, accounting for 80% of total agricultural production. Fiscal and biological characteristics of the agro-ecosystem as well as socio-economic factors dictate what crop and farming systems that are produced. The greatest benefits, lowest risk for the farmer and household. Recent geological data has provided striking evidence of large quantities of crude oil and limestone deposits extraction in the diaspora. I am making a personal call on you to turn attention to the development of the Savannah region. This is so because there is no nation in the world that grew steadily without the contribution and support of the African Americans. Savannah region needs your involvement in the development agenda of the region. We still remember painfully the millions of enslaved people, our brethren, who died being transported to Latin America and the Caribbean to work without pay. I plead for a minute's silence and prayer for them. A minute's silence for those slaves who died during the transportation to America, Caribbean, and other places in Europe. A minute's silence. May God bless their souls. And this gives us the strength as diaspora to work more for our salvation and to collaborate with where we come from, basically and largely Savannah region. Thank you very much.
At this juncture, we're going to have our closing remarks from Mr. Francis Opai Tete.
His Royal Majesty Buipewura, Jinapor II, the entire team that came with him, the Regional Minister of the Savannah Region, Honorable Muhazu, Saeed, and the Commissioner for Sedgwick County, Honorable Cruz, and all of you that have gathered here. I'd like to say a very big thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be part of this history-making agenda. For every basket you see on the market, somebody takes the time to start it small like that, and they weave. By the time you see, you have a beautiful basket that can contain everything that we want. Savannah Region is the best region in Ghana. It is so peaceful. You hardly hear of any conflict in that region. It's blessed with all manner of resources. By the grace of God, this particular government has created a new region of the Savannah out of the former Northern region. What is left right now is you and I, our responsibility to make sure that generations of one will come and be grateful for what we have done. And that's the essence of today's gathering. I know that we have come here today to sow a seed. And it is up to us to dig around that seed, to water it, to give it the necessary manure, so that the seed we have all collectively sowed today will become a magnificent plant under which shadow all of us will enjoy tomorrow. Do not underestimate the potential of today's gathering. Do not. I'm pleading with all of you. Do not underestimate the potential of today's gathering, where this gathering is going to take us. Thank you all for coming. From here, all other meetings that have been arranged, I pray that Lord Himself will guide us to have a successful meeting. And all of us who also came all the way from Africa, we pray that God Almighty will take us back home safely. And Honorable Cruz, we know you are seeking re-election. You are extremely busy. You should have been on the field campaigning for votes, but you have let everything be, and you have moved all the way from Kansas City to New York to meet the Overlord and all the entourage and people who are gathered here for Savannah Region to be established. We just want to say a very big thank you. Thank you so much for that sacrifice. And for that you have done, the Torah spread alone to let you retain your seats. And your inaugural ceremony, even if you are not able to come physically, wherever we are globally, we will come in and see it. You will win your seat once again. Thank you so much, all of you, Honorable Regional Minister and Honorable Registrar for Savannah Regional House of Chiefs. We thank all of you for coming, and may good Lord bless all of you. Once again, do not underestimate the kind of seed we are sowing today. But this seed is going to become a mighty oak tree. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Francis.
I think before we...
Yes. I'd also like to thank the staff for Botanical Gardens. Let's give a hand for all the staff. They did a wonderful work to put us together. And now, at this juncture, we are going to move to the backyard. We have some, special for you.
Yeah, Gertrude, just a minute. Madam, my daughter, come and shake me.
Oh, there was
God bless you.
Now, Mr. Archer will take over and give us a background music. Wow, Honorable
I'm sure you that we are going to win. Our ancestors are going to be behind. God Almighty God will be behind. Because you are doing a good job, like it has been manifested here. It has been manifested here. You will not fail. And we hope when you win, you will also forget us. God bless you.
Okay, Mr. Archer, let's give hand to Mr. Archer. He has been sitting by. Yeah. Mr. Archer, let's go.